Welcome to Podcast Done For You, the show where we make it as easy as possible for you to make the right choices to advance your podcasting career. So let's get started on the show. We're here to talk about the brutal truth about podcast consistency and why just showing up weekly is terrible advice for busy professionals. Hello and welcome to another episode of Podcast Done For You, the show. Now, I want to deliver some real value for you today because you're thinking about a podcast. And the truth is, one of the biggest things that you need to overcome is the ability to be consistent. Now, going in and thinking, I'm just going to show up every week and every week I'm going to record an episode of my podcast, let me tell you, you are setting yourself up for failure. You are a busy professional. You do not have time to be putting this into your agenda every week as much as you think you might have. And I can say that with a lot of experience. And the reason why, well, it's very simple. What is it that you love doing? Because podcasting is not the first thing you want to do. You want to be on a podcast. You want to have your own podcast. You want to make sure it's getting out there for all of the right reasons that we've probably talked about in previous episodes. But actually committing to this idea of every week showing up, things are going to get in the way. Let me give you an example. What happens when a client rings you up an hour before you were due to start recording your next session and they say, we've got this big opportunity, but we need you on it right away? What are you going to do? Are you going to do the podcast? Or are you going to do the work that you love doing that's going to bring in some real dollars immediately for you? The answer is, you know what it's going to be, right? And so that is going to immediately interfere with your ability to be consistent every week. It is one of the reasons why so many podcasters fail. It's why getting to 20 episodes is such a huge mountain for so many people, because podcasting does involve time. Now, I don't want to deter you from doing a podcast. I'm not telling you not to do a podcast. Far from it. I want you to do the podcast. I just don't want you to try and put it aside as saying, well, I'm going to do an hour every week. There are lots of ways around this. There are lots of things that you can think about. Now, if you are busy, which you will be, the thing about maintaining consistency is you have to be smart about it. You have to get ahead of the game. Now, also, I hear the wheels clicking over and thinking, that's fine. I'm going to set aside a day, half a day every month, and I'm going to record all of my episodes. Can I tell you, that is also not going to happen for the same reason that I just said to you before. Something will come up, it will delay it. Plus, it is actually quite hard to do that on your own. Don't underestimate how much work is involved if you are going to be the person that is overseeing the podcast each and every time. There is a lot to think about. Now, one of the other things that really gets in the way of people, aside from clients and workload and your own priorities because it's taking you away from what you love doing, is that it's just one of those areas, podcasting, that is not going to give you that immediate return on investment. Now, I love podcasting and I will stand by the fact that it is the greatest marketing tool that any business can have, but it is not an instant lead generation tool. Certainly not from the beginning, not at the point where you guys are sitting there right now and thinking about doing a podcast. That's why you're watching the show. So what I'm saying to you is that you've got to be smarter about how you do it. Now, I will tell you that the best way to be smart about how you get into podcasting and make it happen is to look at a service like the one we offer, which is a done-for-you option. Now, whether you use us or whether you have a team that is going to look after it for you, it has to be out of your control, because the minute that it is totally in your control, it will fall down the priority list. It's no different, quite frankly, to what I've seen in many businesses over the years and organizations where they get on board with a newsletter. The first newsletter, everyone is really excited and it's full, jam-packed of so much material, and there's a lot of, celebrating when the first issue is out. The second issue is pretty much on time, and there's people that have come forward and said, oh, I didn't get to be in the first issue, I want to be in this issue. And that's great. The third issue is usually a little bit delayed. It's taken a little bit longer. People aren't as on board and forthcoming with the material. There have been other priorities. The fourth one, if it arrives at all, generally is very late, is much thinner on the ground. It's a completely refined version of the first version that went out. And if you're lucky enough to get to the fifth version, it's seriously delayed and very much in the shadow of what was originally intended. It's because there are other priorities. Now, let me just say this to you. You can't let that be the case with a podcast. It's not a newsletter. It has a much broader base. It can produce a newsletter out of it, by the way, but it has so much more that it can deliver for you. So the key is, if you are a busy professional, which I know you are because you're watching this program and you're still listening in to us, the key is finding a way to get it done for you. So that's what we're going to talk about in a conversation that we'll have directly with each other. Podcast Done For You has the answer for you. Very simply, we condense it into a simple 2-hour recording session. One of the little tips is you don't actually have to put it out weekly. Now, I don't want you to go monthly either. I've heard some people come to me and say, well, I'll just put out my podcast every month and we'll interview one person every month. There's a whole different episode. We've talked about the pitfalls of doing interviews and having guests. You can refer to that one later on. But what I will say to you is, whether you have guests or not, don't do it every month. People lose the routine and the pattern. Nobody remembers that, oh, it's this time of month and I'm going to get the podcast. They want to be able to listen to it consistently. So I do advise that every 2 weeks is a really great solution. It gives you enough time to promote the past episode and the future episode. It gives you plenty of space to talk about it. And it literally halves the amount of podcasts you have to put out in a year to give you that consistency and still give you huge amounts of material for multiple platforms. You can also do it in a way like we do it, where we have one recording session 4 times a year, and that will cover all of your podcast needs. So if you want to know more about that, podcastdoneforyou.com.au, details in the show notes. But just getting back to it, I just want to be very clear for you that if you are considering a podcast, and that's why you are here, the brutal truth about podcast consistency and why just showing up weekly is terrible advice for busy professionals is very simple. You got to get on with doing the thing that you're the expert in, and you want people to know you're the expert in. So let someone else worry about showcasing how you are the expert and making it simple for you while you get on and do what you love doing. So don't get caught in that trap of thinking you're just going to be able to show up every week. Until next time, this is Podcast Done For You, the show. Don't forget to hit subscribe. We love your comments, and we certainly would like to hear any thoughts about topics you'd like us to cover in the future. The whole goal here is to make podcasting as easy as possible because, as I said, it is the best marketing tool you will ever discover for your business. Until next time.